Greetings, my beautiful lovelies. It's Emmy. How are you? It's great to see you and welcome back. Today's video is sponsored by KiwiCo. KiwiCo inspires kids to see themselves as makers. They have all kinds of wonderful projects to foster creativity and problem solving. And now KiwiCo has a new line called the Yummy Crate. And this is all about fostering the love of both food and science, totally up my alley. This is the Tasty and Toasty Yummy Crate, and it's targeted for kids ages 6 to 14. So each Yummy Crate contains 3 recipe cards, a yummy zine, a unique kitchen tool, and a grown-up shopping guide that allows you to customize the recipe. My kiddo made the brown burgers for us for dinner, and he read the recipe and followed it all by himself.
Beef, beef, beef.
So Yummy Crate unlocks the science of cooking with kid-tested recipe and hands-on STEAM experiments. I love to learn. Every day it is my goal to learn something new, big or small, and I love doing so in the kitchen. So the Yummy Crate is such a wonderful way to create an experience for yourself and your child, something that you can tinker with and experiment in the kitchen and make something that you can actually eat. I love how it's geared specifically towards children, but it's not dumbed down at all. Just presented in a way that is very, very attractive and fun for children to absorb. I think what I found most impressive about this kit was how self-driven it was. My child was motivated. He did it all himself. He did ask for help for a couple of things he didn't know how to do, like flipping a burger, but after I showed him how, he did it himself, and he felt really accomplished by the end of it and really wanted to tackle more recipes. What more could you want? It's just... So if you've got a kiddo that's interested in food and food science, this might be the crate for you. So click the link down below to see how you can get 50% off your first Yummy Crate subscription from the KiwiCo store. Big thanks to KiwiCo for sponsoring this video. So today we are going to be making an apple pie. More specifically, we're going to be making a McDonald's style apple pie. You know, the rectangular version that would come in that little cardboard sleeve? Well, I saw a video on TikTok that shows how to make it very simply. After making a little apple filling, we're going to be using some store-bought puff pastry and bake them up. They look delicious, and it's autumn. It's the time of year to be using those apples up and making some cinnamony sweet deliciousness. So let's go ahead and get started. Today's recipe inspiration comes from the Sweet and Salty on TikTok. So we're supposed to take 2 Granny Smith apples and peel and chop them. So let's do that. This is how I like to core my apples. You just go around and slice off chunks. If we've got some peel or some bruises, we'll just trim those off. And I'm going to cut these into about 1/2-inch cubes. Medium heat. To my pan, I'm going to add a couple pats of butter. Now we're going to add our apples. Sugar, sprinkle that on. That will help to release some of the natural juices in the apple. Next, we're going to add a little bit of ground cinnamon. And if you like, you can also add nutmeg. My kiddos love homemade applesauce, and when it's warm, they love to sprinkle a little cinnamon right on top. So good. This is smelling autumnal. Smells so good. Put the apples in one kind of even layer. I think this lid's gonna be a little too big, but it'll do. So I didn't grow up eating McDonald's apple pies, but I have heard stories that they were legendary because they were deep fried. So they had this really great crispy texture, but now they are baked, and so they're still pretty tasty, but they don't have that delicious crunchy texture or that fried flavor. But I was very fortunate to go to Hawaii a couple years ago, and that is the only location in the 50 states that still fries their McDonald's apple pies. We'll put a link down below to that full taste test because there are certain items that you can only get in Hawaii. And look at all the juice that's come out of them. And they're softening up beautifully. So my apples are pretty tart, so I'm going to include an extra tablespoon of sugar and another 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, some cornstarch that has been dissolved in a little bit of water. And that will thicken things up, although this is quite thick already. We need an egg wash. I'm just going to crack an egg and beat it up. That's going to act as our glue but it will also be the golden coating on the outside of the pie. In the KiwiCo recipe, it's actually really great. They talk about different types of browning and how things like egg wash, which contain more protein, encourage browning. But so do basic items like baking soda. So they put pretzels in baking soda baths or lye water baths to change the pH on the outside of the dough so that when you put it in the oven, they will brown better and darker. Love science! So now we're going to take our puff pastry, gently roll out the pastry. We're going to cut this in half lengthwise, 5 by 2.5 inch rectangles. Whatever size rectangles work best for your pastry sheets. Now we're going to take some of our apple pie filling and place it in the middle. Don't want to overstuff these because we don't want them to burst. Brush around the perimeter. Take its matching mate, flip it right on top, and press. And give us a little press all the way around to help the edges seal together. We're going to slash this with our knife so that the pie can vent. Paint this with more egg wash and then sprinkle a little bit of coarse sugar on top. Then pop them into a preheated 400-degree oven and bake them for 15 minutes. Lovelies, the apple pies look so good. Look! Oh, puffed to perfection. Yes, I love puff pastry. Love it. Frozen, thaw it, just cut it, use it, and it puffs beautifully. Lovelies, I'm so happy with how these turned out and I cannot wait to taste these. Alrighty, I'm gonna grab this one. Yeah. Hello, beautiful. Hello. Look how that egg wash gave that beautiful yellow sheen to the top of it. Gorgeous. Itadakimasu. Did you see that puff of steam that came out when I bit into that? Did you hear that light and flaky crunch? So stinking hot and lovely. I love the use of the Granny Smith apples in this. They're nice and tart and way less sweet than the McDonald's version. If you're really craving that sweet, sweet flavor, then I would add another tablespoon of sugar. But for me, this is just right. So hot. The apples are well cooked and nice and soft and creamy, but they have a burst of that fresh tartness and apple flavor. There's sugar in there, but it's not overly sweet. The puff pastry crisp up really nicely on the outside, so it's like a flaky crunch. It's more like an apple turnover to me because of the texture, less than pie. The crust isn't like a short pie crust. It's more like a turnover, but still absolutely delicious. Lovely cinnamony flavor. If you'd like to add nutmeg to this, by all means. I think that's a classic combination, but these are really great and simple. Do they taste like the McDonald's ones? Not entirely. The last one I had was when I was in Hawaii, and that one had a magnificent crunch on the outside, but it had a completely different kind of pastry shell. But this is delicious in its own right. Alrighty, my lovelies, there you have it. That's a homemade version of the McDonald's apple pie. I say it's totally worth making, especially if you're using puff pastry, because it's so stinking easy. Alrighty, thanks again for watching, and big thanks to KiwiCo for sponsoring this video. If you'd like to find out how you can get 50% off a Yummy Crate subscription, please click the link down below. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media. Check out my website. I will include a printable version of this recipe, and I shall see you in the next one. Toodaloo. Take care. Bye. I've burned all the taste buds on the left side of my tongue. Awesome.